Hey guys, thank you so much for downloading and listening to this episode of On the Beat. Have you rated or reviewed us yet? If not, why? The best way for us to grow is by sharing us with your friends and rating and reviewing us wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify has a new rating feature right on our podcast front page. It is super easy, and the more 5-star ratings and reviews we get, the better it is for us to grow. If you screenshot and DM us your review, we'll share the most flattering ones on an upcoming episode. Thank you so much for listening, and your support is marvelous and appreciated. Well, hello there. Welcome to On the Beat, the podcast that uncovers full frontal male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and I am joined by my co-host, my lovely, lovely co-host. So much more than that even. Ryan.
Why would you call a child Norval? Like, where does Norval come from?
I was really thinking about looking up the origins of that name.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it.
Because I was like, huh. Because it's close to Orville, and the only Orville I know of is of the green bird puppet from back home, Orville.
Oh.
Yeah.
Orville Redenbacher.
Aye. It was like puppet.
Popcorn.
Yeah, what was his name? Was it Keith? Keith something or other. He's dead now. But yeah, he had a funny monkey called Bananas or Peanuts or something. And they had a song. I wish I could fly up to the sky, but I can't.
Would you like to know that the origins of this name is Scottish?
That doesn't fucking surprise me.
I would like to talk about the 2019 horror comedy Come to Daddy, starring Elijah Wood as Norval. Stephen McHattie, Michael Smiley, and Martin Donovan are also in this movie.
Okay. Aye, that's Tires from Spaced.
Yes.
Yes. That's like one of only a couple of things that Edgar Wright's done well.
I love Michael Smiley.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
Funny. Yeah, he's pretty funny. Yeah, this isn't to be associated with, in any way, shape, or form with the Aphex Twin track "Come to Daddy," which we all know of.
I did not remember that song.
Right.
Until last night.
Remember the video though, Chris Cunningham video. It's basically got like that fucking ghoulish ogre thing screaming in an old lady's face. Oh god.
I'm also
oh god, fucking hell.
Oh my god. Well, I'm pretty sure that song is also in one of the CKY videos.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure it's in other things. But yeah. Anyway, I thought I would just put that out there just in case.
But there is another
just to
Aphex
clarify
Twin
in case anyone's. Well, I would say that's the original that I remember. It's been remixed plenty of times, and I'm assuming, and I'm going to assume because we live in an age where everyone does like a kind of softer edged version of an older song to stick in like a trailer or something.
Okay.
You know, it's usually a soft female vocalist, and it's really slow. And you're always kind of like, oh, I think I've heard that song before. And you're like, no, it's just a really slow version of like fucking Culture Club or something. You know what I mean?
I genuinely have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Right, okay.
But the end of this movie has an Aphex Twin song in it.
Okay. Is it the actual track, or is it like what I said before, like it's the kind of the soft version of
it's the real song.
Of the actual thing. It's like this sad, soft, depressing version of the song. I'll get some stuff up and maybe let you listen to it all, but like it's
Okay, but it ends with an Aphex Twin song. So and it's a very popular one. It's like it's not April 14th, it's AVRIL 14th.
April 14th. Yeah. Well, they named their stuff kind of funny. It's kind of like Otesha. Otesha does kind of the same thing. Yeah, I like all that sort of stuff. But yes.
I do want to say right off the bat, or a little bit in, I love this movie. I really think this movie is very funny and very weird.
Yeah, it's fine.
It was directed by Ant Timpson. So you got some words for me on Ant?
Only a few. There's not a lot to kind of go on, really. I'd say like he's not new, because I think he's been in the film business since like the 90s. But he's produced more than he's directed Come to Daddy in 2019 is his only film that he's directed. So that's effectively his directorial debut. I think that's what we'll
Yes.
call it. But he has his hand in a few other things, and I'm only kind of mentioning the ones that I recognize. Censor that came out in 2021, sorry, which was decent.
Yeah, you watched that, and I wasn't here, so I didn't get to watch it with you. I
I
haven't
watched
seen
it
it yet.
on well, I watched it on Hulu. I think it's probably still on Hulu. I think it's fine. And I
Okay.
think like my truncated review of that movie is that it starts off well, the middle is all over the place, and it ends well.
Okay.
So it's kind of it's a bit uneven, and I guess like that's the state of independent horror films as I feel it is right now. Is it's kind of all follows that sort of framework. But he also produced Censor. He produced The Greasy Strangler, which we're yet to see.
Yeah.
And he also produced, or at least had a hand in the two ABCs of Death that came out a few years ago, which were like anthology movies, basically.
Cool.
So yeah, his hand is very much in the pie of horror. But yeah, he hails from New Zealand. And yeah, that's it. Because there's a lot of production company names on the front end of Come to Daddy, like to the point where it's maybe a little bit too long. It's like 5 minutes of company animations that head the start of this movie, where you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's the guy. I haven't really got anything else to kind of say about him. We saw some interviews and stuff like that. Remember, we saw that one interview where Elijah Wood's getting interviewed by. And I don't know if Elijah Wood's particularly tall. And then obviously Ant, like they're struggling to kind of keep him in frame because he is huge.
Yeah,
he
he's
is
a big guy.
massive man. Media.
Yeah, Aunt Timpson, I guess has been producing, like you were saying, stuff for so long, and I really do want to watch The Greasy Strangler, but I feel like we tend to watch our movies at dinner time, and I know
Yeah.
that movie's going to be real gross.
Yeah, it's the same reason we haven't sat down to watch Ricky O.
Yeah, or Society,
Or Society. Like
because I know it's going to ruin my dinner.
they're gonna be a bit. It's gonna be a bit slimy, and it's probably gonna be a little bit gross.
Yeah.
So even I kind of draw the line. Even my desensitized self kind of draws the line at like, well, I'm trying to eat my dinner.
Yeah, of course.
Don't want my stomach start to gurgle.
Oh my God. So the synopsis of this film, I actually wrote down two because one is very short and one's a little longer.
Okay, it's a bit greedy.
It's a little bit greedy.
Yeah.
Well, I thought one was more to the point and I kind of liked it better. So the short one is, a man in his 30s travels to a remote cabin to reconnect with his estranged father.
That is not a tagline.
That's not a tagline, it's a synopsis.
That's the log line.
That's what this movie is.
Oh, okay.
The synopsis, that's not the tagline.
Oh, okay.
The tagline is terrible. But the other synopsis is...
I wasn't wrong. It wasn't the tagline.
Right. So, okay. After receiving a cryptic letter from his estranged father, Norval travels to his dad's oceanfront home for what he hopes will be a positive experience. If only he'd known the dark truth about his old man beforehand.
Hold on. Wait, which one was the synopsis and which one's the
They
tagline?
were both the synopsis. They were two different ones.
Oh, okay. Right.
The tagline is just, it's not a tagline. It's from the team behind The Witch and The Greasy Strangler.
Oh. Yeah, that's
not a
not very
tagline.
good. Yeah. But I said
Those are from Letterboxd.
I thought you said there was two.
Two synopses.
Oh, two synopses.
That
I
I
thought you said
liked.
two taglines.
I might have said that.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm confused. But anyway, okay. Well, I mean, they both. I think the first synopsis is better because lends more to the imagination as opposed
That's
to like,
true.
let me tell you the entirety of the story, just minus all the jokes.
Yeah, it's like, just know that something weird's about to happen.
Yeah, just
the
in
long
case.
one.
Yeah, just in case you got 40 minutes in and didn't think it was going to twisty turn. Well, it's going to twisty turn.
Yes. I didn't know what this movie was going in. This is the second time I've seen this movie. And I really like Elijah Wood, so that'll pull me in no matter what. But But the thing is that it's super fun to not know what is going to happen in this film because it is weird and it's so awkward and funny. And that's kind of what pulled me in because you don't know what's happening until like halfway through the movie.
Yeah, I guess like there's elements of it where they're trying to like it's trying to behave like a horror movie. I'd say take the horror genre kind of completely out of it. You wouldn't realize it had anything to do with horror. It's more a kind of suspense thriller, comedy. It plays very much for laughs. I mean, you're going into this, it's very silly. Certainly, a lot of the dialogue is incredibly lent in a very particular direction where it is played completely for laughs because there's no aspect of like a lot of these characters that you're meant to take 100% seriously.
Yeah. Well, right off the bat, you have Elijah Wood getting off of a bus wearing this ridiculous outfit.
He's got a
and this
look.
hat and this mustache, which I'm a fan of. But luckily, he loses that hat right away. It was a terrible hat. But then you're revealed with this ridiculous haircut.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, he loses the hat, but he does not lose the hair. The mustache is fine.
Yeah.
He's got a very particular look. I mean, at one point he wears a jumper that has holes in the elbows and the sleeve continues to flow, and I don't fully understand that. He's a bit arty farty in the stereotypical sense, I would say.
Yeah, they had a style before they even filmed the movie on what they wanted Norval to look like. And I guess Ant had texted Elijah Wood and said that he wanted the character to look like Skrillex, the DJ.
The DJ.
Yeah.
He's ripping fat beats.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. And I think the haircut came about because there's a lot of LA douchebag type of people, probably baristas, that have that type of haircut.
It's a look I've seen before. And I'm not going to judge too many people on this particular look because, guys, let's be honest, I have a very particular look and it's a t-shirt and jeans. I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, I'm settled into my later lifestyle. And it's basically, it's basically a nicely brightly colored t-shirt, maybe has something offensive on it, and then just a pair of trousers.
Very stubborn man, you are.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not the clothes that maketh the man. I'm pretty sure someone said that at some point. But yeah, no, I think.
Well, he called it LA douchebaggery.
Yeah,
is what Ant Timpson said.
I wouldn't even say it's LA specific. I mean, I've seen that sort of stuff before. It looks. The problem is, it seems like incredibly impractical clothing.
It's like fashion, baby.
All style, no substance. Like, that's just kind of what it is.
Well, I think that was kind of the problem with that. I mean, that shows the character itself.
Yeah.
Is that he's trying to layer everything on top because he is insecure and, not a success as he wants to, he wants to feel and show off that he is very successful.
Yeah, I guess like that's one of the primary issues I have with characters being written this way, or certainly characters that are reflecting, I guess, like millennial culture, is that they lean super heavy into like this sort of stuff, to the point where it is becoming a little bit of a stereotype.
Well, why would you have a problem with a character being like that?
No, his character gets better, but on the face of it, it's literally like he's just pandering to stereotypical millennial behavior.
Right, but that's how the character is. Like, he is terrible, and you're not meant to really like him all that much, but you still need to root for him.
Yes.
It's like you have someone that's a douchebag, that's a liar, that's a little bit pathetic, but then you still want them to succeed.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's a slight against the character. I'm just saying that's just the way it's written and is put together. Like, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he does get better. He does get better as the film goes on. But obviously, when you first see it, you're just kind of like, ugh, right, here we go.
Yeah.
It's another one of these.
Well, also, he comes out to be sort of an alien in this world. You have this beautiful landscape, and it's
with that
very
fucking
green, and you've got the water and this insane looking house, and you have this guy just planted here who very obviously doesn't belong.
No, I mean certainly he took no consideration as to what his ears would look like when selecting that haircut.
No.
So just looked like he was going to flap away in the wind.
So he's going to meet his father, who apparently had left when he was just 5 years old. So he doesn't know him, doesn't really know what he looks like. His mother never talked about him.
No,
Doesn't know, he's never talked to him.
no,
So it's weird and it's super awkward. And walking up to this house after getting a weird letter
yeah,
to meet his father, it's so weird. He opens up the door and he just goes, "Dad?" And it's, so weird.
yeah. So I guess like because there's probably going to be ways. I mean, this film's more than 3 years old at this point. There's going to be spoilers, and these are going to be big spoilers.
Yeah, that's
when we
true.
get to
I mean,
them.
I think most people at this point, from the feedback that we get, is that they want to watch the movie first. So, I mean, if you've gotten this far, this movie's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. So
So
there
you
will
should
be
watch it. It's an hour
yeah,
and
there
a
will
half
be
long.
there will be spoilers. We're not going to be reciting any of the jokes and stuff like that. Everyone kind of turns out to be a little bit of a parody of themselves until things start to get a little bit more real.
You're saying we're not going to say any of the jokes? I wrote down a lot of the jokes. It's
I
so
don't know.
funny.
Well, I don't know if they'll be
This whole
funny coming from our
interaction,
mouths.
the whole interaction between the father and Norval is so bonkers. And I don't know. I don't know what it would be like if you're meeting your father after 30 years.
Is that First Daddy? We naming him First Daddy?
It's Daddy.
It's just Daddy.
Yeah.
From the off, it's Daddy. We're just calling him Daddy.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, no, when he does meet him for the first time, it seems incredibly plausible that he would be his father, and the history that they would have had between themselves would be legit.
Yeah, of course.
Because they seem to, I guess, like, and it's a very deliberate thing, and obviously it is a very deliberate thing, but yeah, the generational gap in attitudes between the two of them's fairly kind of self-evident.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's that part where Daddy tells him they want to take a selfie picture together to send to his mom.
Yeah.
And he pulls out this gold phone, and Norval goes, "Oh, well, Lord gave this phone to me? The artist
Yeah.
Lord?" I don't know anything about Lord.
I knew a song. Because I was like, oh, could I make a Lord joke like during the point of the podcast?
Yeah.
And then I was just like, it's Lord. Like I just don't care. It's not my generation's music. I just don't. Yeah, I don't have any loving for it whatsoever.
The name is familiar to me, but I don't know the music.
I'm gonna sound like a granddad. It all sounds the same to me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like Billie Eilish and Lord and stuff like. I literally couldn't tell them apart.
Okay.
Like, there's no way. But yeah, no, he gets
got this phone.
that gold phone.
And it's made of real gold.
There's only 20 in the world.
Yeah, and so the papa is taking this photo and then drops it over the side of the balcony of this house, plonks on a rock, plonks into the water. Norval's like, like you said, there's only 20 of these in the world. And then
Yeah.
Papa goes, "Oh, there's 19 now," and then just walks away.
Yeah.
Doesn't give a shit.
Well, you realize, like, as the film progresses and you remember these things, it's a very deliberate reason why he destroys the phone.
Oh yeah, fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. There is a sense of unease and awkward dread throughout the whole half of this movie.
Yeah, you're not really 100% sure what's going to happen. I mean, the minute you get to the house, because he's walked up to the house, like, the house looks rife to become a climate disaster, a tragedy at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right on the shoreline. Like, literally, you spit out your window, it's in the ocean. Like, I mean, you are right on the water.
It's really beautiful.
It's idyllic, I would say.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't think it's particularly practical in the modern sense of the word. Like, I mean, obviously the sun's going to destroy itself in 7 billion years. More than likely, the tides are going to rise within a fraction of that time. So
Right.
I would certainly, yeah. Well, no, I mean,
So the point is we should just enjoy ourselves now.
Yes.
Okay.
Heroin for everyone.
Here we go. Yeah, they have very interesting interactions and interesting conversations. there's a point where Norval is saying that he, lives with his mom still for a time.
This bit's really good.
Just, he's had a rough couple years and, and then what does the dad say?
That's like, well, you must sleep with your mum. You
still-
sleep in the same bed with your mum. You still
share a
live
bed?
at your mum's, yeah.
He's like, no, I don't share a
Like,
bed
no, that's
with
not
her.
the case. What? And he's like, you share a bed with your mum.
God, and what was that whole part when they end up sitting by the fire, and they're just having a chat, and then Norval's trying to make himself be, make his dad proud, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, these are all the amazing things I do. Oh, I'm like a really famous DJ. I'm really famous in the music industry. I'm super big.
Yeah, it's like, do I produce blazing beats? Yes.
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 Do I tickle the ivories? Yes.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
It was pretty funny. See, I told you, in context. The thing is, the film skirts a super fine line between, trying to take itself seriously, but then obviously not taking itself seriously. I think if you go in here taking it as a comedy, you'll have a much better time.
Absolutely. And I think that is a really fun thing about genre films and horror genre and being able to have fun with that.
Well, this is the time of, there's a real resurgence of the comedy horror now,
Yeah.
We saw it with Freaky, we saw it with the two Happy Death Days movies.
Yeah.
There's a real need for stuff to feel a little bit lighter in the horror genre. And this also does that relatively quite well.
I think that it's a really good marriage of the two, and I find that to be some of my favorite type of genre horror films.
Yeah.
As ones that don't take themselves too seriously, but can still be scary.
Yeah. Because, if you want to think, what would I rather be watching? Would I rather be watching some of the films or the countless stream of, exorcism films that are horror things, and they just take themselves far too seriously?
I do like a spooky ghost movie very much.
Yeah.
But these are also very high up on my list of stuff that I would like to watch.
Yeah, of course.
Because I don't have to worry about having nightmares.
No, that's very true. But you wouldn't be scared of a bad daddy?
A bad dad? Well, I know what my dad looks like. And my dad scared me enough when I was a kid because he had the mustache and a motorcycle.
I don't know if you can say stuff like that on the podcast. It's going to come back to haunt you. You can't say things like that.
No, I'm not saying he was a bad dad. I'm just saying he was an intimidating dad.
Oh, see, no, that's even worse. I don't know
Is
why.
it?
Yeah, of course it is.
No, he rode motorcycles. All my friends were scared of him.
I don't talk about my dad for
All right.
obvious reasons.
Because
I've
you
not
could
seen him,
end up in a situation like this film.
Well, no, because I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't answer the letter. What are you talking about? I've seen my dad in over a decade at this point. It doesn't really matter.
See,
Don't
you
bring it
put
up.
yourself in Norval's shoes.
Yeah, aye. You seen his fucking shoes with the rest of his clothes? Yeah, I'd be questioning myself in the mirror before answering a letter to be like, yeah, what will my dad think of me? This fucking call me a rat fucker and a cunt.
Yeah, they sure do say the word cunt many times, which I appreciate.
Well, let's put it this way: at one point, Daddy. This is also another thing. Daddy just goes, just tells him a story because he does this thing where he kind of just tells him random things to intimidate him. Because there's a lot of daddy posturing for the first part of this movie.
Yes.
It's just like, I'm a man, all this sort of stuff. And he basically tells the story about how he kicked someone in the head so hard his ear fell off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was an
see into his
accident.
brain.
Yeah, it was accident. He was like, I can see in his brain, and then that that becomes something later on, and we figure out exactly who that person was. Basically, what comes to be is Daddy drinks a bit too much.
Yeah.
Daddy's a little bit violent.
Yeah.
And Norval confronts him. Basically, to find out, why did you write the letter? Why did you ask me to come here? And Daddy gets a knife.
He won't answer his question. He's getting really mad.
Oh yeah, he's angry.
And
he's drinking heavily. He won't stop drinking.
I think you sent me the letter because you're an alcoholic. And he grabs a meat cleaver.
Yes.
And which is, I just want to point out at 27 minutes and 43 seconds, we get the all the beautiful titular line, which I didn't think we'd actually get a titular line in this movie because it's called "Come to Daddy."
Yeah.
Like, you think, are they actually going to be able to pull this off? And they do.
Yeah.
I think it happens twice.
Well, I
So
do.
awesome.
I do like it. I do like it where he's just like, he's beckoning him in and he's got the knife in his hand and he's like, "Come to Daddy," which is exactly what I was wanting.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is,
my favorite part.
and I mean, like, when we look back on the movie, like, that first section of the film, before, like, a lot of stuff gets revealed, that first section of the film is a little strange. It's a little weird. Like, I wonder why Daddy let it go on for as long as he did.
Maybe 2 days?
Yeah. I'm kind of just like, you would probably,
you
like,
heard
potentially
Daddy.
have dispatched him.
You
know what I mean?
Well, you heard Daddy having conversations with other people and trying to figure out what to do in this situation.
Yeah, I guess, like, that's kind of how they cover it up. That's how they kind of justify it all a little bit.
Because I don't think that Daddy was intending for, harm.
Well,
initially.
He didn't know about the letter because, spoiler alert.
Are you gonna do it?
Yeah, fuck it. This film's 3 years old.
Okay.
He's not his daddy.
Yeah.
He's not his daddy. Bum bum bum. Oh my god. So, like, Daddy didn't even know about the letter. Didn't know anything about him. He's not his daddy. And what kind of comes to be is that, they call the coroners. The body ends up. This is one of the weirder things in the movie, and it's one of the things I don't really like. Was that they ran out of space at the morgue or at the coroners, so the body had to be brought back to the house. So the body's just in the house. So also there's this kind of feeling, and I kind of got this feeling as well. I was like, this is going to turn into like a supernatural thing, where like he is actually the daddy, and he's just going to wake up again, even though they've had all these fluids and his fucking organs drained out of him. He's just going to be this formaldehyde daddy, like wandering around the house.
I want to back you up a little bit.
What's that?
Because Daddy has a heart attack.
Yeah, Daddy dies.
Right.
Yeah.
So Daddy has a heart attack during this whole confrontation with Norval. Things got really heated. An attempt on Norval's life is made. And then while this is all happening, Daddy just drops dead.
Yeah.
And Norval doesn't know what to do. He sees his father, sees Daddy laying on the ground, and it's a shocking situation. He calls his mother, he calls the coroner, and that's when the coroner comes by and says, "Oh, I'll bring the body back in a few days or tomorrow."
Yeah.
He's like, "Why would that happen?" Because they ran out of room.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
So you're right. Yeah, you don't know what's happening when Daddy comes back because Daddy's in this room. Norval's sitting there for a couple of days, losing his mind, having nightmares. He's hearing noises.
He went back to drinking, even though he had dependency issues.
He sure did.
So he's decided, and there's noises in the house. There's a lot of like banging of metal and stuff.
Right. So like you were saying, you don't know if this is like a supernatural element. Has Daddy come back?
No.
What is going on?
Well, Daddy hasn't come back. I mean, he was the first daddy. We were about to be introduced to the second daddy, like the real daddy.
Right.
And I guess like this is where the film takes a massive turn. Like it basically all the horror elements are chucked out, and basically what we're introduced to is more of the suspensey crime, comedy caper that the film is.
Yeah, because then we get to meet the other characters and find out why this daddy was doing these things and what these noises are all about.
Yes. So basically there's a basement and these criminals have put Daddy in the basement.
They put Norval's actual daddy
and they
chained him up.
They kicked his head so hard that accidentally his ear came off. And then what they reveal later is that they got him to eat his own ear.
This I love so much. Because Michael Smiley has been torturing this guy. Or I think. No, or was it the other guy? Was it other daddy?
I mean, both of them have been doing it.
Right. So his ear gets kicked off.
Yeah.
And they gave him a choice. They gave actual daddy the choice to either eat his own ear or drink a cup of semen.
Yes.
And he eats his own ear. And then Norval says to him, well, you know there's a lot more protein and it's probably a lot better for you to drink the semen. And he goes,
Well, they were starving him. That's why he was so hungry.
he
Yeah.
said, well, the semen was yellow.
Mmm.
Ew.
Mmm. Oh,
That's why he
dear.
ate his ear.
Yeah, there's a lot of like it's kind of there's a lot of kind of gross out stuff in the movie as well. I mean, he's like he comes back, he's like here's a pen, I've covered it in my excrement. It's
Yeah.
like no, it's excrement. And he stabs him with this shitty pen. He's like, it's gonna stab you. It's gonna cause an infection. And you're
Yeah.
gonna die.
Poo pen.
I mean, the thing is, like, it becomes more of like a crime caper at this point because what we reveal is that Daddy's been an estranged daddy because he's lived effectively a criminal life. And these people have come back into his life demanding that they get their money back because he stole money from them
Yeah.
from a job they did in the past. So you're kind of then flung into like this kind of like criminal element in the movie, and I guess this is where it becomes something a little bit different from what we were experiencing before.
Yeah, there's definitely a turn about halfway through the movie where it, like you're saying, it turns into more of a caper.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing because Norval has to track down Michael Smiley and ends up in the trunk of his car, effectively on his dad's request to murder him.
So like the minute second daddy turns up and like all this stuff starts to happen, I just feel like there's a lot of little questions and things that I kind of want answered, and the fact that he just kind of goes along with what his new daddy's saying, and
Okay.
and like just believing him and just going along with it, and then killing people. He's actively murdering people. I mean, they're trying to murder him, but I mean, he murders that poor. I mean, they call him the Hunchback. Dandy, poor Dandy's just taking a poop.
Yeah.
And he walks in, and obviously, the toilet paper's still stuck to his ass. There's a lot, like, it's very funny. It's just, like, you're kind of just scratching your head a little bit. But, like, he stabs him in the dick, and then he fucking bashes his teeth out of his fucking mouth with that saran wrap, and then he chokes him with the saran wrap.
Yes.
It's very brutal for what it is. But then the entire time, I was like, they called Dandy a hunchback. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, he didn't look like a hunchback.
No.
He really didn't.
Maybe it was just an in-joke that we didn't really get to discover.
Maybe. The Quasimodo-looking motherfucker. It was a real shame. He was just doing the toilet. He was just Porky Pig in it.
Yeah, that's true.
So another one of those occasions where we're like, Jesus Christ, someone's just not wearing pants.
Now it's going to be a Gutenberg. He's Gutenberging it.
He's doing
a
God.
Goot.
Yeah, we can't do that. That is not going to happen. I'm not going to allow it to happen. No.
Yeah, that's my thing now.
I would much rather pull on the Disney or the Looney Tunes like dictionary of characters, like that whole thing, than fucking bringing Gutenberg into my life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pull him good.
Yeah. No, this film is funny, I guess. Let's just say, like, keep it nice and short. Comedy of errors happens, and he ends up at this motel where we followed one of the criminals because he's taken the suitcase tag off of his luggage, which basically details the address of Norval's mum and where she lives and stuff. So it's now brought her into the mess, and he's just a fucking crazy Irishman. He's gonna murder everybody for the revenge of Daddy's ills. And I guess that's how the quote at the beginning of the movie makes sense. It's like the sins of the father will be paid by the son.
Yes.
That quote. So it's very literal. But yeah, no, we're getting to the dick scene, and we're at the motel.
We're at the motel, and apparently Norval needs to get to Michael Smiley to get the luggage tag back so he can save his mom.
So this is a little bit confusing, because I'm not too sure if he needed to get the luggage tag back or he needed to murder Smiley.
Maybe a bit of both.
Right.
Maybe one's more important than the other. I think he really wanted to get the address back because he was worried about his mom. And maybe he would murder him if he needed to.
Many people would take a moment of pause and just be like, well, look,
Maybe I shouldn't murder this person?
maybe I should think about what I'm doing first before I decide to go through with it.
Not in this type of movie.
No, I guess not, because then if there was any moment of pause, there would be no movie.
This would be a drama.
This would be a drama. Well, no, he'd be sitting on a park bench in the dark, probably in the rain, just like thinking about what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He'd go,
seething.
why is my daddy such a bad daddy?
I wish my daddy was in my life more.
I wish I never came back to meet my daddy.
Credits. Aphex Twin track.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this movie could have been a very different film.
If it wasn't so funny and ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, based on the subject, yeah.
Well, all the characters are entertaining. They're all parodies or some sort of like exaggeration of people in real life, because real people in real life don't behave this way. But the person who's watching the motel, he loves big boobs, and that's his thing. So yeah, the motel guy loves big boobs.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, like huge boobs. Like it's like his personalized license plate is Jugs. He was reading a copy of Jugs.
Okay, I don't remember that part.
He's quite easily swayed by the prospect of seeing a woman with gigantic boobs, and that's how Elijah Wood, who's all scarred up and fucked up from like fighting these goons, basically, doing his daddy's will. He basically distracts him with the prospect that there might be a woman with big boobs near his car.
Yeah,
that's what I kind of garnered from it. And by getting him to leave, he's able to get a whole bunch of hotel room keys. Now, just before this, there was the prostitute who went into Smiley's room.
Yes.
Who just like puts people in headlocks, and then you pay her money for it.
Some people like that.
Yeah. Either way, she looked like
it's his kink.
Yeah, she looked like she was out of glow. Like she was quite.
Right, like a wrestler.
She was quite a hefty lass. She looked like she could put you in a headlock. I think she just like goes up to Elijah Wood. I thought it was really funny. She was like, "Get the fuck away from me, you little motherfucker." But yeah, no. There's this big thing about like there's a bunch of geologists and stuff. That's why he's not able to get a room. So there's a bunch of geologists there.
Right.
And the reason we know they're geologists is they have like little rocks and stuff on their windowsills.
Okay.
I guess I might have been the only person who noticed this, but there was a lot of rocks on like windowsills and stuff like that. But basically they're geologists, but it's just a front because they're all just having orgies. It's just a swingers party, pretty much. So he grabs all these keys and he tries to kind of go into one of the adjoining rooms. It's a really kind of like madcap moment where he's like grabbing keys, looking at the map, like the geography of the rooms and like how you get into each room and all this sort of thing.
He's trying to get to Michael Smiley, and he ends up in the room with the geologist, as you say, right? And it is dark. The TV is playing porn, but it's on mute, right?
It even looked like porn, though.
I assumed it was porn because
when the sound does go on, it sounds like porn, but there's no porn taking place.
Well, I mean, you have to lead up to porn. A porn can't just, you need a story, too.
There's a lot of mumbling and moaning, though.
Yeah, well, you gotta have a little chat first. You gotta sauce up the ladies.
That's true. You gotta answer the door. You got a pizza. Maybe you've got the hole cut out the bottom of the pizza box. And it's like a dig pizza, or you're a plumber, like you're a man of like of.
You got to fix the pipes.
Yeah, you got pipes that need cleaning.
You need a preamble in order. So maybe that was the preamble part.
Yeah.
That he walked in on, but everyone's in bed, they're asleep, but there's a pantsless man who's also gooting it. He's wearing a shirt.
He's porky pigging. I'm not allowing you to do this. He's porky pigging.
I'm going to do it.
Right.
And then there's a couple other people in bed, so it looked like they just had a good old fashioned. It's an orgy if there's more than 3 people, right?
I don't know if that's...
What's a technical term?
I don't know if that's particularly... Because there's still foursomes.
Is there?
Yeah, I'd say foursomes.
How many people do you need to have an orgy? Does it need to be like an odd number?
I think it needs to be like a bunch of couples. Like you can't just... No one's gangbanging on like one particular person.
No, gangbang is completely different.
But like what I mean is like there has to be... I feel like there has to be like equal numbers so that everything kind of balances out.
But you can have 5 people and have an orgy.
Yeah, you can.
You're not gonna kick out, Greg over here.
Yeah. I mean,
get out of here, Greg.
It's all consensual. I mean, you have to, like, you're just bouncing from person to person, or you're bouncing from couple to couple,
But 4 people is not an orgy, you're saying?
I'm saying, I think in order for it to qualify as an orgy in, like, let's say in the Roman sense, right?
Okay.
It has to be more than five. Has
More
to
than
be. And it
5?
also has to be couples as well. I
I
feel
don't
like there
think that
has to
that's
be
true.
that.
I think you could have a bunch. You can have a bunch of singles.
I feel like I'm maybe in the more conservative camp, and we're like, everything has to be shared equally,
I feel like
you
I need to
know?
Google how many people do you need for an orgy.
Well, look, end of the day, like, none of we haven't got vomitoriums anymore. I'm just trying to make sure everyone gets a piece of their pie if they want one.
Heyo.
You know what I mean? There's not some poor sad sack just fucking jerking off in the corner, sitting in the corner chair. You know what I mean?
Well, he can still be involved. I think that
That
you can have
seems
an orgy for 4.
that seems sad, and I just think everybody wants to get involved. They can. Either way, there's 5 people on this bed.
There's 5 people? I think there's 4.
It's dark. It Lord, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
How many?
I'm saying
Well,
if there's
sorry.
5,
How many?
it'd
How
definitely
many?
be an orgy.
How many folk can you fit on a queen size bed? How many folk could we fit on our bed? Because our bed's a queen size bed,
You could probably fit 3 people.
comfortably.
3.
But like, what if you're trying to do something on the bed though?
I mean, if you're trying to do an orgy on a queen size bed, you could fit plenty of people.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're doing.
I think some people might slip off, like a knee might fall off of the bed, and you maybe got to put your foot on the carpet.
I mean, it's not like the floor is lava or anything. You could get people around the floor.
Yeah, I'm not saying like there's sharks in the carpet. There's no carpet sharks, but like obviously,
Right.
You know,
I think you could probably fit 4 people if you're doing an orgy on a queen size bed.
okay.
But if you're having a nap side by side, maybe 4.
Yeah, I think if you're all spooning each other, maybe you can get the 4 in there under the covers.
Okay. I think
You
they
know.
were in that situation. So
Yeah.
let's just comfortably say there's 4 people on
Cool.
that bed in the motel.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, Elijah Wood goes into the room. And he's got the keys, and he's trying to get into the adjoining room.
Yes.
And obviously, TV's on. There's porno on the TV.
Yes.
Everybody's on the beds.
Correct. Sleeping.
So the way that we see it is he glances over to the bed, and it pans across, and there's at least one girl in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like what you're saying. A couple girls, couple guys.
Couples. Keep it fair. And the camera
Well,
pans.
couples can be
The camera pans
any
across
type of sex
to the
or
man,
gender.
to the man porky pigging it, and you just see it resting on his thigh. Well, this is the first time we see it. It's resting on his thigh.
It is indeed.
It's not in focus because we're focused on their faces, and we're basically. It's not the most flattering of shots. Let's put it that way. But
No.
it's from like their thigh, and it's basically just going because they're lying down. It's from their thigh all the way across to their face, and obviously the penis is just there.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is there. The man on the far left of the bed.
Yes.
And you see it several times
Yeah.
throughout this interaction because inevitably, because the TV is muted, it's got to turn on, right? So he has to, Norval
Yes.
has to step on the remote precisely on the mute button somehow, perfectly.
Well, he steps on a used condom. First of all.
He also, oh yeah, he does do that.
Yeah, he steps on a used condom, and
People are being safe.
he
It's nice.
he steps on it in such a way it creates this horrible little cum bubble thing, like in the bottom of the fucking condom. You're just like, right, okay, and it's like, oh no, what's gonna pop first? But no, he steps on the remote in classic comedy fashion.
Yes.
Which, yeah, whether you like that or not, that's what happens.
It was
And
very stressful.
everybody wakes up, and like, here's the thing, like, by the time he makes that mistake, he's then rushing to get into the room where Smiley and the wrestler are.
Yeah, he never gave up and wanted to like run outside.
No.
He is still desperate to get in through the adjoining door instead of, but here we are. I'll accept it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a comedy of errors that seems like. But I mean, what ends up happening? Because we'll get this nice and fast because then we get to the other bit of the deck. He gets in there. Smiley's getting a headlock with this woman because that's what he wants.
Yeah.
And then
Christmas
for whatever
cake.
reason, she gets up. They get Norval. He's in a headlock, and Norval had already picked up. I don't know what you call those things. Those little needle things. You put the receipts and stuff on them.
Yeah, I
don't
do
know what
not
you
know the
call
name
them.
of them, but you would see it maybe at a diner or a restaurant. And so, when you're done with the check, you would pop the check on that needle.
Yeah.
And you'd collect all your receipts on it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
either
using that as a weapon.
yeah.
I don't
'Cause
think I've seen before.
Before I'm sure it's been done before, but before he goes to even inspect any of the rooms, he slashes the tires of Smiley's car.
Oh yeah.
With the receipt poker, let's say, and this ends up being Norval's weapon of choice because he doesn't even really get to use the fucking thing. He ends up getting stabbed in the stomach by fucking Smiley.
Maybe 8 times.
Who just calls him all sorts of like horrible expletives, and then gets the poker all the way through his cheek.
Yeah.
And Smiley apologizes and says, "I was going for your ear." Well, it's during this altercation as he's being stabbed and being obviously stabbed in the face. This is when we also see the concerned couple from the adjoining room. You know, he's Porky Pig in it. He's got his t-shirt on and stuff like that. We see everything. She's like the woman in the group is also naked. I don't know where they're from. I was gonna say Scandinavian.
Okay.
That was just my thing.
They're very concerned and very worried because they had just witnessed a horrible crime.
They have witnessed a crime. Even the prostitute was also kind of like, oh fuck, and then Smiley's screaming at her like as he's packing his suitcase, basically saying, "No, I saw you like choke him out. It's your fault. You've murdered someone."
He also yelled at her that she needed to wear some more deodorant. Just quite low blow.
That is a little bit of a low blow. Not only are you accused of murder, you're also accused of having BO. Yeah. It's like, you know,
insult to injury.
How to kick a glorious lady of wrestling in the stomach, in their armpit, you know? Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah. My goodness. We were kind of at the end of the movie here because that penis scene, I don't even think I mentioned it yet, comes in at 1 hour 18 and 6 seconds.
Yes.
There's not much of the movie left.
No. He confronts Smiley and then he ends up walking all the way home.
Yeah.
That's really kind of what happens.
I really like that.
There's not much of a resolution to the story other than like the people who you feel like are dispatched, and then the movie kind of ends with the intimation. He never gets an answer, though, from his father. He never gets an answer as to why he wanted to get in touch with him or why he contacted him. No. And that's kind of a bummer. It is a little bit of a bummer.
But then, you know, his father's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems that way.
Although he did fund his entire life, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, supposedly he was living in a mansion. His mother was a prostitute and all this other sort of stuff. Like a load of other things get revealed and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like he doesn't get the answer he's looking for, which is kind of some sort of basically the stepping stone to reconciliation with his father. That's what he's looking for.
Yep, never happens.
And it never happens. But yeah, what a fun romp.
I have a very interesting thing to tell you about this film. And I wasn't sure if I should bring it up earlier, and I didn't, so I'm going to tell you now.
Well, I'm literally on the edge of my seat.
You should be. So this movie actually came about from a bit of real life truth from Aunt Timpson, who watched his dad die right in front of him.
Okay.
And his dad's partner at the time, she had suggested that they keep the body in the house for 5 days. Okay. So that the family can come and reconcile their feelings and kind of chat with the father and just kind of grieve all together. And right. I guess this is kind of a Maori tradition because he's from New Zealand.
Yeah,
you know, it's not. Sense. I'm sure it's common in certain cultures, but it wasn't common to himself. He thought it was a little bit weird, but they had the body embalmed, had it taken care of, brought back to the house, and you know they're going through the grieving process. But then people would come by the house, people he'd never met, and were, you know, also grieving and telling stories, and he's chatting with these people, and he's almost feeling like there's his father, like he never knew him at all.
Right, okay.
You know, just from meeting all these strangers and all these people, and then he was having weird dreams, and these really surreal dreams while his, you know, deceased father is in his home.
Okay.
So from that is where he ended up talking to, what was his name? Toby Harvard, about, you know, working on a script about this story.
Okay.
From that particular real life trauma.
Yeah, from that traumatic event comes the comedy, Come to Daddy.
Well, it makes sense because we were saying before that you could have made this a really intense family drama,
You
which
could.
you do kind of work through it in a way in the beginning. But then I think, seeing how Aunt Timpson is and the kind of films that he likes and produces and works on, you could see why this would be more of a cathartic thing to work through it as a comedy.
Yeah.
Because I think this is also the type of films he would like to watch with his father.
Well, not to obviously like question his inspirations and things like that. But yeah, I mean, for some people, like filmmaking is a kind of therapy in itself.
Yeah.
I remember saying that in a pitch meeting once, and I got thrown out.
What?
Yeah, I wrote a story about reconnecting with my father, and
Oh dear.
yeah, it was a rough one. It's not as funny.
Okay.
I would say that much. You watch it and you're appalled by it, probably.
Well, I'm really excited to see other kind of. I've been enjoying like the Spectrovision kind of company that Elijah Wood and a few other people have put together, because we've seen some really cool movies come out of that company, like Mandy and Color Out of Space, stuff like that. So let's get into our ratings, which I'm annoyed that I have so far switched the visibility and context ratings to be separate. And I feel like I'm going to rate it the same for this movie as well. But it'll come a point, I swear, where we'll have a movie where the visibility rating and the context rating are starkly different. But for now, I'm just going to keep doing my best.
Okay, so what would you say?
So in terms of visibility, it's 5.
Okay.
5 stars, visibility, and context, maybe just for fun, I'll give it a 4.5.
Okay.
Because he's getting snuck in on, and it's a little creepy.
Okay.
And he obviously, this naked man doesn't want to see someone get, an attempted murder.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think he's intent on saying that. I'm just going to agree with you because I didn't really think about it any more than that. Than just like it's gonna be marked relatively quite high. Yeah, it's just it's like an extra layer to something that's already relatively quite ridiculous. So why not? Why not just have someone with their dick out? You know?
It's definitely played for comedy. Not that this man's penis is played for comedy. It's more just, the situation that Norval gets himself into, and then these poor people are privy to this other horrible situation.
Yeah.
Just when they wanted to have a good old-fashioned orgy.
Yeah.
Foursome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, either way. It's what I mean. It's what it is.
So, what did you rate this film overall, Ryan?
3.
Okay.
It's slightly better than average, just purely because it did make me laugh. But it just kind of falls into... It's not as good as other films of its ilk, I would say. Like, comedy horrors of, like, the past, like, of the last, say, even, like, the last decade or something like that, where there's been more of a resurgence of it. I don't think this one's as good as those ones.
You're going to have to point some out to me so we can watch them.
I think Happy Death Day is a better film than this one.
Oh, I like this one better.
Because it just plays in a lot harder. This one, I feel like it's like skating a really fine line, and I think at points it does it really well, and certainly everyone's a caricature. But then when the film stops being kind of a horror, like, and it kind of takes away a lot of the suspense and all that sort of stuff, I'm like, now it's just a kind of silly crime caper. And I kind of lose a little bit of interest in it. That whole motel scene thing, and I know there's a dick there. That whole hotel, that motel sequence, just kind of makes me beg belief, and I start to kind of lose a little bit of attention at that point. I'm quite happy for the film to have finished by that time. I start to question everyone's behavior, and I'm like, what are you doing this for? Why are you doing this?
I love the beginning of this film so much. It is funny, it's uncomfortable, it's tense, awkward, and you don't know what's happening. And I really, really, really like it up until you get to Daddy Switch and you go through the rest of the journey.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite part of this movie. And also you get to be in that really cool house that looks like a UFO on the water, and it's so beautiful and such an interesting spot to have a have a story be told. And I kind of want to be in that house. I think it's really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree with you that when you get into that later part of the movie, even though you have the addition of Michael Smiley, who's lovely and so fun to watch and was apparently ad-libbing and like improv. He was like doing a lot of improv for that part of the film.
Aye. Well, Michael Smiley's also in Censor.
Awesome.
He plays a film producer in that movie. He's very good in that movie.
He's great.
Actually, yeah. He's probably one of the standout parts of that movie.
He's great to watch. And so, him coming in towards the end of the, the middle of the film is awesome and super fun to watch. So, I'm not mad about it. But I gave this film 4 stars and I'm very happy about that score. And I would watch this movie again because I've seen it twice already. And I enjoy it very much.
Good.
I think it's funny.
Okay.
And there's a wiener in it. Well, gee golly. Thanks so much, Ryan, for being here with me today and letting me watch an Elijah Wood movie with you.
That's fine. I don't know if there's any more Elijah Wood movies that we're going to have to see.
I'm going to find them if there are.
Oh, okay. Well,
don't worry about that.
Yeah. Frodo with, what do they call his sword? Sting? Sting.
Yeah, it glows when there's... I think when there's goblins around.
When there's danger.
Not just danger, it's like very specific.
Oh, is it only just goblins?
I think it's just goblins.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's orcs. Oh god, I used to be the nerd that would kill me if I got that wrong.
Oh, that was why.
Shit.
That's why it didn't glow when they saw the spider.
Correct.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here with us today. Coming to you from the trunk of Michael Smiley's car, I have been Laura.
I'm Ryan.
See you next time.
Goodbye.